Truth in Numbers: Black Market Pressures in Land-Based and Online Gambling.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this last panel, Truth in Numbers, Black Market Pressures in Land-Based and Online Gambling. We often in gambling try to measure the success of a regulation by looking at the channelization rate, which is the percentage of players who play in the locally licensed market versus the locally unlicensed market. Worldwide, if we look, we can see a range of different channelization rates where usually we would rank a rate of a 90% and higher as a sign for an effective and well-functioning regulation, where sort of, say, the middle ground would be captured by channelization rates of about 60 to 80, and a sign of a poor regulation or one that isn't quite working would be anything below 60, where we'd have the majority of jurisdictions the majority of jurisdictions that don't have a good channelization rate, that is, land within the 40 to 60% bracket. But then, unfortunately, there's also other markets. One of them will be featuring quite heavily today in this panel, where Germany, which is quite a newly regulated market in the way that it's regulated at the moment, where we currently see a channelization rate of around 35.3%. That's my latest number that I have. And we also had, again, from a recently changed market in the Netherlands, we recently had reports come out from the KSA saying that the black market has now overtaken the white market, so we're also under 50%. So we'll be looking at today what makes a market go into one way or the other, and what drivers are. In our analysis that we do at Egara and with Regulus Partners, our colleagues there, we mainly have identified sort of that there's three drivers, and we'll be hearing about all of these across this panel today. One is excessive consumer friction, where rules that are being set in place tend to be well-intentioned, coming from a player protection principle, but oversee what the majority of player wants or what the players need, and that can scare away some of these players. Also, product restrictions that are unbalanced, advertising restrictions that are unbalanced tend to feature as, and that where we just see correlations in where product restrictions are introduced, we then shortly after see a reduction in the channelization rates. Netherlands being again an example where certain player restrictions around deposit limits, etc., were introduced, and then we now have these market numbers that are quite different. And the last key driver being weak or inconsistent enforcement. Of course, even the best designed regulation will only work if there's an effective enforcement that comes with it. On the other hand, we have things that do work, where we have open licensing regimes. Monopoly regimes tend to feature far less because it's a competition and product restriction, of course. So markets that are more open and markets where there is more consideration of the implications of regulation onto it tend to feature a lot higher and show these high channelization rates. I'll leave you with one thing to watch, which is Denmark, which has always been sort of the shining star and sort of the guiding light in terms of what goes well in regulation and what has worked. They are going to be introducing quite a severe package of advertising restrictions that will come into force next year. So that will be quite an interesting one to watch in terms of what happens with that excellent channelization rates as that pans out. So I already mentioned we'll talk about numbers, we'll talk about the impact of the black market. And I'm absolutely delighted to have my three panelists here today who will be speaking about this not only on the online side, but also the land-based side. I have here Christian Heinz here just directly next to me, Director of iGaming at Tipico, who will be speaking about the online side of things and how a major regulated operator quantifies and responds to the black market pressures. We have Carsten right next to him, who is Tipico's Head of Public Policy. and he will take us for a little walk along Germany's streets and show us what can be seen in terms of the black market that is out there. And we have Matej Novota, who's the head of casino research at Casino Guru, who is an affiliate, and as an affiliate sits between the players and the operators, and he can tell us a bit about what complaint patterns can reveal about the black market realities and how players interact with both the licensed and the unlicensed offerings. So, Christian, let me start with you. In your day-to-day work, how do you approach measuring the size and the impact of the online black market, and what have you identified as the key market drivers for the black market?
Jessica, first of all, thanks for having me, and it's great to be in Rome again, the eternal city. Yeah. And one question just from a technical perspective, is it possible to show pictures here, some slides?
Absolutely. So the audience should be seeing it in the back, and we should be seeing it here on the right. We have the monitor where hopefully you can see it. Maybe we
start directly with something which is not number-driven, but maybe one of the reasons why I'm sitting here today. This is a picture I took last year in Malta during the Sigma Europe. So what you see is the booth of a payment service provider. And well, if you look at it and not getting upset, so then it's maybe because we are used to things like that. I mean, this is a payment service provider who thought it's really a brilliant idea to stage his own booth on one of the biggest exhibitions, so where also politicians run around, etc. So there's a big press coverage as a laundry. And you make the laundry, of course, in neon red machines, and then you advertise with the claim, your money, your rules. I think this is really, really bad. If we're not stopping to take the money, also from Sigma, from everyone who's willing to well, put a booth somewhere, so then we are bringing the whole industry into danger, because this is really what the, let's say, people expect us to do, and this is the opposite of what we want to do. And I was so upset that I promised I'm not going to Sigma anymore in my life. But then I got this very pleasant call from you, Jessica, and I said, okay, maybe this changes my mind, so I'm sitting here today. But let's have a look at the numbers. I think this is why I'm here, and not to talk about this here.
It's good to have you here.
Thank you. Well, looking at Germany, well, I think the best indication, if you think about channelization success, is that you work out some comparables. Now, and if we look, and since last year, the GGL in Germany is publishing the market data, so at least the GGR volume in the market. So we know now for the first time officially what was the GGR in the online casino, regulated online casino business in Germany. And if you put this as a KPI as GGR per capita, we end up at €6. And looking at the number and looking at, for example, what our direct neighbors in the Netherlands, who are closely related to us, who have, let's say, a lot of things also socially and in digital behavior in common with us Germans, so they already end up, I have to look at €36, so it's 6 times more. And if I speak to my colleagues from the Netherlands, they are complaining about the black market. So, but even though they're complaining, at least per capita, they earn 6 times more, generate 6 times more GGR. And I don't even want to start speaking about countries like the UK, etc. Or if we look at Denmark. Denmark is more than 12 times more GGR per capita than Germany. So at the moment, I would say, at least speaking about the online casino regulation in Germany, it has failed big times. No, it's not working out. So, of course, we need to speak about what are the reasons for that, but this for sure is a big problem. Maybe go quickly to the next slide. Mm-hmm. This is something where we use similar web data, and we're doing this now for quite a while to look at so what is really the traffic distribution in the German market. So with similar web, you can see, well, up to a certain extent, the data is reliable, no? So, but we aggregate the data on a high number of different operators. So looking at the black market data, they represent around 1,400 different websites. So and we look, has a website in a particular month's traffic from Germany or not? No? And then, well, we take 2 values. One is the number of visits to the website, and the other is the duration on the website. And what we can clearly see is, there was a decline, and we see it also in text numbers. It's the red graph, no, in terms of visits and also in terms of duration in the regulated market. But also, and this is quite surprising, we see a decline in the black market usage and also in the time duration. And now the question is, what happened to those users? Have they stopped playing, or what really happened? And I don't want to get too technical in this discussion, because we later have to speak a bit about technique when it comes to content and when it comes to slot game content in particular. What we see is that more and more users in Germany start to play using a VPN, so that they can use, let's say, certain black market, very famous black market products that also advertise, let's say, on motorsport and soccer, etc. I don't want to say the brand name now. And for that, you need a VPN. So the share of VPN users in Germany is increasing, and that's why we don't see them independent anymore. So it's not that the black market is declining. I would say it stays on the same level as we are staying on the same low level as it currently is. Maybe then one last slide. Ah, yeah, okay. This is someone I called, this is the black market chief, or chef, no? Because I think if we speak about what we can do against the black market, we need to understand what the black market really needs. And this is three things. So first of all, a black market needs content. If there's no content, so if no game provider would provide games to the black market, there would be nothing to offer from the black market. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the black market needs payments. If no one would be willing to take part in high-risk transactions, so there would be no business model. And the third part, lastly, is advertising options. As long as there are advertising platforms and partly also affiliates out there allowing black market advertising, of course there will be customers guided through those offers.
Thank you very much for that. Maybe moving to Mate. What can you add to those numbers, sort of from what you can see as an affiliate, specifically maybe on the complaint side? Oh.
Thank you very much. So can you show the slide?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So this is what we do in Casino Guru. We are also solving players' complaints. And these are the statistics from year 2020 until 2025. So you can see how significant rise we can see specifically in the German market on the year 2024 and 2025. So since the German market started to be regulated, we see very, very huge increase on players' complaints. And what we know from our data is that players usually complain to unregulated casinos 10 times more than for regulated ones. So only from these statistics we see that lots of players, they went to the unregulated market, and the numbers are extremely high. And if we compare it, you can see the other statistics. That's the other countries. It's UK, Denmark, Sweden, and Netherlands. You can see there are like similar numbers there. There is a slight increase, but the highest numbers are specifically for Germany. And if you can go for the next slide. Mm-hmm. Yeah, here you can see I'm not sure if it's possible to see it correctly, but yeah. So here you can see the players from Germany on which licensing authority they're complaining the most. And if you look specifically for years 2024 and 2025, there is like, for Anjuan licensing authority, there is like 500 complaints submitted through our webpage from German players, from players with German IP to the Anjuan Gaming Authority. And in 2025, and it's not even over of the year, it's over 1,000. It's absolutely crazy number. This is like very, very, very bad. And we can see in this rise that this is a trend. So from the complaints, from the data, what we are having, we can see that the players, they choosing offshore market rather than regulated market. And we have also GGL there, and you can see it was 26 submitted complaints, which is absolutely completely different number than 800 and 1,000. We know that there is a correlation between unregulated and regulated market is 1 to 10. And these numbers, it's like completely somewhere else. If we compare, for example, UK, it's like 20% of the complaints are submitted to the regulated casinos. In Germany, it's 1%. One. This is like absolutely stunning.
And of course, it says something about where the black market is also going and finding a home to operate from, where, of course, before the regulation in Germany was introduced, it wasn't a black market as such, but a grey market and a pre-regulated market where a lot of the offers were coming from Malta based on European freedom to provide services arguments, whereas now we obviously see a movement much further afield. What would you say, from an enforcement side, does that mean, and where does that leave us, or the regulators who have the responsibility of enforcing and helping the legal market in that way?
Well, it's very easy for offshore casinos to target these markets. Definitely, there is a very, very strict regulation for regulated casinos. But unfortunately, the law enforcement part of the deal is like missing. And all these offshore casinos, they targeting the market because it's a very good market. And they are not risking much when they are coming to this market. So far, I haven't heard that some offshore casino was punished to come there. Maximum what they can, how they can be punished is lose of the traffic for a while. That's it. And this is wrong. It definitely shouldn't be like that.
So clearly the regulator needs a little bit of help. Christian, what does the industry do? What can the industry do?
Yeah, I think I brought a pretty good example. In Germany, we as an industry started, or we as Typico, to be more precise, started something which we called the Trusted Partner Program. So we were, let's say, advocating for a code of conduct that was really hard to achieve across the entire industry. So we thought, okay, maybe we start a bit smaller and started with a program that is in the beginning only covering what we are doing. And we offered our game providers the opportunity to become part of extensive promotion packages, to benefit even from, let's say, higher revenue share or less reductions, etc. And we said we're going to stop immediately promoting all those game providers that are not signing our code of conduct, and that means that they will not stop providing black market operators in Germany. And well, that was kind of a risk, no? If you all of a sudden stop promoting the most beloved games on your product. And I have to say now, Typico Games is the biggest online casino, regulated online casino in the German market. But we did it. And well, I'm very proud now, after 7 months running the program, 85% of our revenues are coming from regulated game providers only, which is a big achievement. And also, we see, because certain games are not available in the black market anymore, players returning. So how do we see that? Okay, there's, on the one hand, we have more players, of course, and on the other hand, they show a different behavior. No? So if it comes to, let's say, KYC, etc., they're not used to that. So you really see now that they used to play their favorite games on platforms where there was no focus on, let's say, really keep the regulatory requirements up. And well, we really need to educate them, but it works out quite well, to be honest. And I think in the beginning it was a cost center, and now really being compliant and doing it the way we are doing it becomes a growth factor. And we're this year growing against the market trend again with a 2-digit percentage value, which is well, very good. And you know from the German regulation, we only have virtual slot games. There is no live casino that we could use to compensate the revenues. So it's a quite well, quite good development, actually.
Perfect.
Maybe.
And yes, you brought some other success stories sort of in the work and collaboration work that you did with them.
Yes, so the first initiative was in the direction, so thinking again of our BlackMarket chef, where we said, okay, content is one problem, but the next problem is advertising. And well, last year, well, we reached a point where we established a monitoring system for certain advertising platform, first and foremost, Google. So how did we do that? So we developed a technology that randomly sends search queries to Google every hour, and we use search words that are, let's say, correlated to black market casinos. Let's say online casino without German tax, online casino without German license, etc., etc., etc. Really stupid like this. By doing that, in peak times, we found in a month around 50,000 campaigns running. And if you just look at the latest data, when we start speaking, that was end of last year with Google, and where we said, okay guys, come on, we have really two options. First option would be we do it jointly, no? And we do it in a friendly manner, no? Or we go and meet in court. So that's the only two options we have. And what we then really did is like we sent them their our findings every month in an automated way. No? So each and every campaign that we find during our monitoring system will be immediately transferred to Google, and Google take it offline. So that way, and you see the success, if we compare the data from, let's say, Q3, or what was it like, I can't read it, to be honest. So it's almost gone. So we have less than 1,000 campaigns at the moment that we find in a month, and it's coming from 55,000 in peak times. It's a really, really big success. And maybe, and also I have to mention this in a positive way, the GGL. Now also we involved the GGL and we informed them about their findings, and they were also very, very supportive and also interested in the way how we track the data, and we're, let's say, supporting our efforts by sending out some legal letters to Google that might also have helped, I don't know. No, but in the end, we got the market where we wanted to be now, and well, we constantly increasing our ad spends at the moment at Google because it's worth investing there again. This is so also same principle like what's happened next. So of course, just because you dry out one swamp, no, then there's the next swamp, and this next swamp is Meta. No? So also, well, we spoke the first time with Meta in April, and we confronted them with our findings, saying, hey, we find really a few thousand, and that time it wasn't more, a few thousand ads every month from black market operators that you allow to have on your system. How can that be? And then they say, no, we're hearing this the first time, blah, 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 blah. So what they normally say. And what we did then is, okay, but, well, you need to do something against it, otherwise, well, we need to go the legal way. And then they said, really to us, and I quote literally, please come back when you have more evidence. And now I'm here. And I'm going on every stage and sending the findings to everyone who wants to have it, including the way we got the data. It's first-party data. The library of Meta is publicly available. I will post it after the Gaming in German conference, because I promised Willem not to do it before. I will post the exact way how you get the data from Meta, because the Meta Ads library is available even without a Meta account. And then you just can browse using keywords through the advertisings and to all the campaigns that they have run in Germany back to the year 2019. Mm-hmm. So the evidence that we have is now, at least when we look at the 2 months I have on the slide, now that at least in September we found roughly 77,000 different campaigns. And this is really more than we have found on Google in peak times. Mm-hmm. So it's a big one. And Oh yeah, yes, and then I have a small calculation for you, and then I stop bothering you with data. If you just assume that every campaign on Meta just generate one FTD, not 10, not 100, not 1,000, whatever, only one FTD per campaign. So that brings you 77,000 FTDs roughly in the month of September. And if we put a value behind that, no, I think I worked here with a €500 annual NGR value, which is pretty much twice of what you earn with an online casino customer in Germany in the regulated market, and this is really the lowest end. Now we know that a factor of 3, 4 to 5 is more realistic than this. And but let's stay only with a factor of 2, so twice as high as the German market. We go with a €500 NGR. It needs to be real money turnover to make it comparable. So then we end up at a margin of 10%, which is also way too high, no? And the margin in the black market is more in the direction 8%, 6%, so the multiplier would be even higher. But I think the core message is, so without now going too much into detail, is that the impact on tax evasion from Meta in the month September alone, through the advertising from the black market there, is bigger than the monthly average income, tax income from the regulated market. And this is really unbelievable. No? It's because they're not doing it and they're not hiding it. No? And even also there, I just got sent a photo. I can't now show it here. There's a booth on Sigma, again, on this exhibition here, from an agency that offers any type of advertising. Just ask us on Facebook. We grant you direct access. It's again, also they're sitting here among you. You can book it. You can, maybe not yet, now they're drinking beer, but you missed maybe your chance in the last 3 days. No? It is a business model, and it's a big business model, and we are going now against it, because also after asking 3 times, what are now the next steps of Meta, I haven't heard anything. No, so, but we for sure go now the next steps, no, because this, what we see here, is too big to ignore.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you very much, both of you, for the online insights. We'll now go to the land-based side. Carsten, what makes the black market discussion different in retail compared to online?
Well, the biggest difference, of course, is that while in online you can count website impressions and minutes spent online, the black market in land-based doesn't leave a real data to be traced. You have to go out on the streets and count the offers one by one. So it's out on the street, really hands-on, going through bars, shisha bars, and billiard parlors, and to see what's going on and to count illegal betting machines you really find. This is really so where cash is being handed over, and very, very interesting. And I can only invite you, if you are in Cologne sometime and spend some time around the central station, you would be surprised what you find if you have an eye for illegal bettings. It's amazing. It's a massive, booming market, even in online gambling, in land-based gambling. Section 21A of the Interstate Treaty states that any selling and brokering of bets is only legal in fully licensed betting offices. So what you can see here, these are the 8 operators having such a license. Starting on the left-hand side, Tipico, our company. Then there's Tipwin, Tiptoro, Merkurbets, BetArena, Bet3000, Sportwetten.de, and HappyBet. So if you find any stationary offer being offered outside in one of these premises, it's all you have to know. It's illegal. It can only be legal if it's offered inside such a betting office. So, going to the next slide. Basically, it's only this. Offered in a betting office, legal, not in a shisha bar. That's all you have to know. But even so, it sounds so straightforward. There's a massive booming market to be found once you have the time to look for it. If you go to the next slide, please. You don't have to go behind red curtains or something. Oh, this is a shop nearby Frankfurt, and has a full-fledged window pane advertising giving what they sell inside. You can see the logo of XLive, who isn't whitelisted in Germany. So one should think it's easy to spot and to get the machines out, but nobody seems to care. Next slide, please. This is a shop in Hamburg, and it has Sportwetten, which is sports betting. It has the logo of Tippersoft, not whitelisted in Germany, and it has bet terminals, which is betting machines, written outside. And if you go inside, not surprisingly, you find betting machines to be seen on the right-hand side of the picture. Next slide, please. This is a kiosk in Frankfurt, and behind the beer crates, back in the shop, you find the betting machine. Next slide. This is a billiard cafe on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, a regular bar, again, with illegal betting machines. So we are not talking about something you have to really to hassle to find. It's obvious. Next slide, please. And what's quite interesting to see is that wherever illegal slot games are offered, the legal betting machines are always only an arm's length away, like in these two examples. In both cases, untaxed gambling, nobody seems to care. Next slide, please. What really took us by surprise, however, once we started looking for it, that you can find betting machines in regular gas stations. The next 4 slides will show examples we just found only this year, giving the whole variety of gas stations there is. Here you have the first example, a classic gas station with an illegal betting machine. There you have an access station, once again with an X-Live machine. Next slide. This is an Avia station with an X-Live machine inside, and a female cashier there did hamper minors to go to the machine, but restricted illegal gambling to adults only, which is quite funny once you think about it. And in these gas stations, the thing is, policemen and state prosecutors will gas up their cars there as well, but nobody cares about these machines. Next slide, my very favorite. This is an Aral station, and here the franchise partner even inserted Aral branded paper in the illegal betting machine, giving the impression that the whole bet was placed against the gas company. Next slide, please. Yeah, okay. To sum this up, we do have a massive land-based black market in Germany as well. According to my knowledge, land-based black market was never on a stage, on a fair before, but it has to be talked about, because it's not only online black market, there's a massive land-based black market as well. And finally, we come to my show and tell thing, which was announced. It should tell you one thing. Every action causes a reaction, like in this example. And I brought this thing because the regulator has to think twice before he gives an impact to the market. Because if the impact is too strict, on the other side of the market, people will be thrown to the black market and they will never come back. So you better think twice with every impact you give to the market and think what will happen on the other side. Next slide, please.
Actually, sorry, before we move on, are there any examples that you have from sort of the land-based side? And online, we often see sort of the correlation between certain regulatory measures that are introduced, and then you can see the impact like you showed in your example.
Okay, yes, good question. What we do see, the stricter the regulation is, the harder the people leave the regulated market. Like in North Rhine-Westphalia, every single bet has to be placed on a customer card. And especially there, the black market booms. We do have a booming black market everywhere in Germany, that has to be said, but it's really, really massive in North Rhine-Westphalia because the regulation is so strict. And like I showed you in my picture, people rush away into the black market.
Mm-hmm. So I'll take you to your next slide. Here we see you in action.
Yeah. What we do see is checking on-site checks about land-based sports betting are done by a multitude of authorities in Germany. We do have the local trade authorities who go for checks in bars and restaurants. Regular betting offices are checked by the county gaming commission. If it's illegal gambling, the police is in charge. And if it has something to do with a regulated operator, GGL has to be looped in. But those being most present in these entities, the local trade authorities, they don't know much about sports betting. They have to do so many fields of, they have to care for, from parking tickets to the organization of farmers markets on a Saturday morning in the city center. So gambling is not really on top of the list. So what we try to do is, we know what happens on in the market and we pass our knowledge on. So we support training sessions for authorities. Like in this case, it was a webinar, and there will be another session in 2 weeks' time, face-to-face, spreading our knowledge to the authorities so they can see what they know what they see once they see such a machine. Yeah, this is an initiative, brand new. The German portal Glückswirtschaft just launched this week a rate tracker to visualize the sheer amount of the problem. So wherever they get the knowledge of a rate on land-based gambling, illegal land-based gambling, they put a pin on their map. So one day we can really have numbers on the sheer amount and sheer size of the market, of the illegal market. So right now we are a little bit, we know it's huge, but we don't know how big it really is. And initiatives like this will help us to get a clearer picture.
That's great. So would on your wish list, sort of on the land-based side, be then the wish for more data points to be able to analyze?
Data, definitely, and more knowledge. If the people checking these sites would know what they see, that would really help.
Anything that my online representatives would see that they can learn from the land-based or vice versa, or have on their wish lists for what would be needed to help combat the black market or get more insight into the size and impact?
Oh, that's really hard to answer. No? So I think we have a pretty good overview of what's happening in the black market already, at least on the online side of things. I've shown you some examples. We have more, but this would definitely kill the remaining 2 minutes now. What I would wish for is more like being a player myself. I would really wish for that we think about taking back certain product restrictions. No? So because we are ruining the experience of playing the machines, and we are killing this entertainment, the entertainment part of the gambling. If we are forced to reduce the RTP further and further, and then if we make the play slower and slower, and if we treat the adults not as adults, so it's this typical nanny state behavior. I would be very glad if we would overcome that in a way, but yeah, maybe that stays a wish. I don't know.
Mate, any wishes from your side?
Me? Well, I think it's not only about like what they can learn, the online gambling from offline gambling, is that there is not only about the casinos, it's about the advertisers, about the payment providers. All is like connected, and we see the same patterns in online and in the offline. So we should learn from what we see in like land-based casinos. The same pattern, they're the same in the online business. So from there, this is the way how we can work together, like fight black market. But I believe it's at
Perfect. Well, thank you very much, all of you, and all of you for staying and listening to us today. I think work to be done for sure. Great to see some initiatives, and thank you very much for sharing your insights today.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me with a round of applause.